play now the video clip. Thank you. Wala ko na ano na sound.
Doc Arvin.
Hello, good morning. Actually, I'm in Bangkok right now, so good morning from Bangkok. Good morning, I mean, if you are in other parts of the world, good evening, good afternoon. And we are again in this 11th PAASE Fireside Chat series for Philippine innovation. we are actually organizing this with the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering, led by our President, Mario Santo Domingo, and our Vice President and President-elect, Dr. Gladys Completo, who will be joining me as co-host today. As my main co-host, Professor Emeritus Gisela P. Concepcion, also a academician of the National Academy of Science and Technology, and an executive member of the National Innovation Council, is on travel at the moment. Anyway, the idea of having this Fireside chat series is to bring our Filipino innovators, share their ideas and how they have succeeded in their innovative thinking and creative thinking into developing new products, processes, systems. So today is no different. We have with us here an energy expert, as we actually tackle the technologies related to batteries here in the Philippines. So I think I would like to now request Dr. Gladys Completo, professor at the University of the Philippines at Los Baños, currently the Vice President of the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering. Gladys, kindly introduce our speaker for this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Alvin. Good morning, everyone, or good evening, or good afternoon, whoever is with us. I'm not here based in the Philippines. So it is an honor and privilege for me to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Joey Ocon. So Dr. Joey Ocon is a full professor and the co-founding head of the Laboratory of Electrochemical Engineering of the University of the Philippines, Diliman. He was also the former chair of the UP Department of Chemical Engineering. He graduated cum laude and master's in chemical engineering from the UP Diliman, and his PhD in environmental science and engineering from Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology in South Korea. He is a recognized national expert on batteries, fuel cells, electrochemical technologies, energy systems, and off-grid electrification, and has led more than 20 R&D projects from atomic scale to energy systems research. So he is also an energy consultant in several organizations, including power companies and the World Bank. So Professor Ocon is also a co-founder and chief science officer of the battery technology startup Nascent Battery Solutions Technologies. Let us all welcome Dr. Joey Ocon. You may now start, Dr. Joey.
Yeah, thank you po, Doc Gladys and Doc Alvin.
Thank you, Joey.
I'll share my slides. Ayan, good morning po and good evening sa ating mga participants in this innovation talk. I'd like to thank PAASE, the officers and the members for the opportunity to speak to you today to talk about batteries and energy storage and the role of this particular suite of technologies in the energy transition. As mentioned earlier, I'm a faculty member in the Department of Chemical Engineering, but at the same time, we also started a company to commercialize a particular type of batteries, and hopefully we will grow and then survive and contribute in the energy transition in the Philippines. I've divided my presentation into these parts. So The main hat that I'll wear this morning would be the hat of a co-founder in a startup. But at the same time, I'd like to introduce also the research activities of our laboratory in the University of the Philippines. Discuss how lithium-ion batteries will shape the future through its application, not just in electric vehicles, but also in making sure that the renewable, intermittent renewable technologies like solar and wind are easily integrated into our energy system. I'll discuss some basic operating mechanisms of batteries and then look at the transition from cell technology into systems technology, and we'll try to map also the current R&D players on energy storage in the Philippines. In the second part of my presentation, I'll talk about sodium-ion batteries, which are emerging alternatives to lithium-ion, its advantages, and also the activities going on related to this technology, and also activities from our startup Nascent batteries. So our research group in the University of the Philippines, Diliman, is named Laboratory of Electrochemical Engineering. We started this group back in 2014, just a year before I returned from my PhD in South Korea. My PhD supervisor in South Korea is Professor Jae-Young Lee. So he has his big group of electrochemists for energy and environmental applications in Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology. But before that, he was a PhD student of Professor Gerhard Ertel, who I'm sure some of you are familiar with his work on surface science techniques for reaction mechanism elucidation in heterogeneous reactions. So we have this tradition of naming research groups according to our PhD advisors. That's why the current name of our group is LEE. So our research agenda in LEE or LEE is basically energy storage at various scales. We have students who are applying quantum chemical concepts and techniques like DFT to screen novel materials as catalysts or as electrodes for batteries. We are also interested on how to design more efficient batteries or fuel cell technologies using multi-physics modeling. However, most of our activities are still focused on electrochemistry, catalysis, spectroscopy, and quite recently with the arrival of some state-of-the-art equipment in our group, we can now perform in situ and operando electrochemical experiments and catalytic experiments with the use of DEMS or differential electrochemical mass spec and in situ FTIR, along with other specialized equipment in our group. While we are an electrochemistry lab or electrochemical engineering lab, we also collaborate with Power Electronics Institute, a Power Electronics Laboratory at the UP Electrical and Electronics Institute to develop the technologies at the device level. One of our biggest group, subgroup right now is the energy systems group. We are interested in how energy storage facilitate the transition for cleaner energy, and this is done through energy systems modeling. We are one of the biggest research groups now in UP with 5 faculty, 3 postdoctoral fellows funded from our ongoing projects, and more than 20 PhD and master students. We're proud that since establishing the group in 2014, we've been able to contribute around 130 plus in international publications in good chemistry and energy and chemical engineering journals. One of our ongoing research projects now is the Next Gen project and part of the DOST NICE Advanced Battery Center. So it started in January this year, January last year. So we employ 1 postdoc and 3 master's level student researchers. And the funding allowed us to establish the country's first advanced battery facility. We have a 4 glove box, an automated battery cycler, couple of synthesis equipment and characterization equipment. And as you can see on the figure on the lower right, we are the first, or we were we successfully fabricated the country's first sodium ion cells based on push and blue analog cathode chemistry. A couple of our students spent some time in our collaborator in South Korea to have their training on how to prepare electrochemical cells from the synthesis to the assembly or fabrication of sodium ion cells. So that's the first part of our presentation. For the rest of the presentation, I'll now be wearing my hat as a startup founder. If we look back at the current energy mix in the Philippines, we have a good share of renewable energy. However, the fraction of energy that we are getting from coal is increasing in the past decade, and this is quite alarming. In a study we published in 2021 with some German scientists, we modeled the energy transition in the Philippines from 2020 to 2050, looking at the possibility of having a high share of renewables or even 100% renewable energy system in 2050. The type of technologies that were chosen are a combination of mature technologies and emerging technologies, including storage technologies like certain types of batteries. The figure on the right shows you the greenhouse gas emissions by sector, and as you can see, the emission by 2050 reaches 0. And to be able to support this 100% RE system, from our study, we found that the backbone of this energy transition will be solar, with a small contribution coming from wind and, of course, other RE or renewable energy sources in the Philippines like hydro, geothermal. But it's really more of a solar energy transition. Now, to be able to support this energy transition requires a flexible grid. You need certain types of power plants that can ramp up or ramp down depending on the situation. But the integration of batteries into the grid will play a key role, because without storage technologies, we will not be able to inject a lot of renewables in our grid. And as I mentioned earlier, this will be through a combination of mature and nascent technologies, hydrogen technologies such as fuel cells and water electrolyzers might play a key role. In a paper that we are writing now, we have calculated the cost of producing green hydrogen from solar and wind in the Philippines, in all of the provinces, just to show that the economics of producing green hydrogen and how they can be integrated in certain industries in the Philippines. Other types of technologies are captured in our model, and we saw that most of the capacity for storage will be coming from batteries. And if you look at the performance of lithium ion versus other technologies, then the performance is really good. and the cost is very low because of the economy of scale, and that's why lithium-ion batteries will dominate the energy transition, not just in the Philippines but globally. In a paper in Jewel in 2019, one of our research collaborators, Oliver Smith, where he was in Imperial College, where he was a PhD student before, he looked at the various applications of storage and compared and performed the calculations on which technology will dominate a particular application for storage. And he found that lithium will continue to grow its market share, not just in the applications where it is dominant now, but for applications outside of the core applications for lithium ion. The blue region that you see in the left side figure is decreasing. It shows you the areas where pumped hydro can be competitive, and along with the gray area or black area where hydrogen technologies will be competitive. So pumped hydro and hydrogen, they will be cost competitive versus other storage technologies, especially in applications which require scale. Medium or long term and in seasonal storage will be the key markets for these types of technologies in the future. In the right side figures, we see the increasing number of gigafactories which are constructed now to support the huge demand for lithium-ion batteries. And in East Asia, of course, we know that the countries like Japan, Taiwan, and China, they dominate the energy industry because of their massive investments decades ago in building the manufacturing capability from the initial discovery of Sony in 1991 of lithium ion. There are a variety of options for storing energy. Of course, the most dominant technology now is lithium ion. But you can also look at emerging technologies like lithium sulfur, which require an inexpensive cathode, and that is sulfur. There are emerging commercialization activities now on solid state chemistry, solid state batteries based on polymer electrolyte or ceramic electrolytes, or even advanced lithium ion that are no longer using graphite anodes. Or conventional electrodes are based, conventional lithium ion batteries are based on graphite anodes. If you replace it with active materials that can store more lithium ions like silicon, niobium, or some other non-graphite based anode, then it can increase the energy density of lithium ion batteries. Beyond lithium ion, there are emerging chemistries as well. One of the most prominent would be sodium ion. Sodium is just below lithium in our periodic table. It's a bit heavier. That's why the power capability is lower. However, the supply for sodium is way better with respect to lithium ion. With sodium ion batteries, we can opt not to use cobalt-based cathodes in our batteries, unlike in lithium ion that we're still heavily reliant on cobalt, nickel, manganese, and other metals. Magnesium and aluminum ions are also being explored, but I don't think that they are ready for commercialization in the next decade. There are certain types of battery trade-offs in battery performance because of the inherent limitations of the chemistry and physics. For instance, you have power and energy. So if you have a highly powerful or a cell that can discharge massive amounts of power, then the limitation would be that the energy density it's quite low. So there's this very simple analogy that storing energy in batteries is like parking cars in your parking lot. You either choose a parking lot that allows cars to come in and go out quickly. So that's the power capability. Or you try to design the parking lot such that it can accommodate the most number of cars at any given point, and that is related to the energy density of the cars. There's this tetrahedron of energy density, power density, capital cost, and operating cost. And you can only choose two out of these four metrics if you want to optimize things. With advancements in machine learning and AI, I think that it will play a key role also in the energy storage technology development. For instance, AI is now being used to perform material screening using density functional theory and molecular modeling. At the multi-physics scale, they're also now performing virtual prototyping, and AI is now used for generative design to enhance the performance. And the electrochemistry level, AI is being used to predict cell performance, analyze battery characterization databases, which allows researchers to iterate the design of batteries to get better performance. At the electronics and systems level, we also use AI now in monitoring the state of health, charge of batteries to identify optimal charge and discharge operation of batteries, and assist the battery management systems of these battery packs. At the system level, it's more about optimizing the economics of operation of ESS assets, or energy storage assets, and AI has now been utilized for price projection and energy arbitrage use cases, and also site selection for solar and wind. Conversely, batteries will be able to contribute to the development of machine learning and AI in order to support the operation of hyperscale data centers. You need massive amounts of energy, and of course, we cannot rely on fossil fuels such as natural gas, coal, and oil to support these supposedly clean storage. In the operation of hyperscale data centers, you need backup batteries also, and one of the sodium-ion batteries companies based in the US, Natron Energy, they are focusing on this particular market. So they have technology based on aqueous sodium-ion to support data centers. Now, when we move to cell to systems, we have to know that the capacities are so much different, and also the type of expertise that we need if you want to develop certain technologies based on this scale. At the cell chemistry level, we need more chemistry, physics, material science expertise. But as you move up, it moves from a chemistry-based innovation to an electrical power electronics-based innovation to a business model innovation in the operation of energy storage system at the systems level. The innovation opportunity decreases from cell to systems. As I've mentioned earlier, it becomes a science engineering problem to an economics problem as you move from the cell level to the systems level. The risk reward is also decreasing as we go from the left to the right, and that's why massive amounts of R&D funding are being poured into developing cell chemistries, okay? Because you have a lot of combinations of materials that you can explore to come up with a novel chemistry, which could be one of the winning chemistries in the battery space. Locally, we have very few battery players at the moment. Most of our players are companies which are deploying ESS for ancillary services to support the grid in the Philippines, and that would be your typical solar and storage and power companies like AC Energy, Infra, Boitis. As you go to your rack system, rack scale, there are deployments of batteries in microgrids. Last September, I visited a microgrid, and they deployed one of Tesla's power packs to support their community microgrid. And this was installed by a Lopez subsidiary by Energy. In terms of R&D activities, most of our R&D activities are focused at the early stage cell chemistry. Of course, there's an advanced battery center which was funded by DOST. It's located at UP and TIP in Quezon City. There are a couple of battery startups, and there was an announced $10 million battery plant investment to be built in Clark. They will produce lithium-ion cells to support the EV industry in the Philippines. At the module level, there are some interest from our semiconductor and electronics companies like Analog Devices or IMI for power modules to support EV chargers, ESS, and also the development and marketing of battery management systems for lithium-ion batteries. I tried to map the R&D ecosystem for energy storage research, and as you can see from the figure, most of the players are concentrated in Metro Manila on the various universities and also on the institutes of the Department of Science and Technology. And there are some activities also in UP Los Baños and Ateneo de Davao University. So how do we scale chemistry innovation from cell level to module level? It's not as straightforward as building more cells. Currently, in our advanced battery center, we are fabricating coin cell type of sodium-ion batteries. These are low capacity in nature, and we are limited with the size of the cells that we have and also on the amount of material that we can synthesize. If you want to build a demonstration prototype based on this technology, then you'll have to do it in a semi-automated or automated pilot line manufacturing, which allows you to build more cells, and you can now use these bigger cells to demonstrate the capability of your battery, let's say in an electric motorcycle or a light electric vehicle. It's not easy also to scale the synthesis of let's say cathode active materials from the gram scale to the kilogram scale, as it requires optimization also of the process conditions because they behave differently when you synthesize them in glasswares and reactors. Now, these activities related to sodium-ion batteries are really brought about by the challenges of current lithium-ion batteries. While lithium-ion batteries are the most cost and performance competitive in most applications, the use of metals such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, particularly cobalt, which is mainly mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, this impedes the sustainable production of lithium-ion batteries. It has safety concerns as well. It's a high energy density battery, and in a sense, it's like a walking time bomb, because once you short your cell, then you release massive amounts of energy. It will explode. It will be a fire hazard. And then the last thing is that the sustainability aspect of lithium ion. In order to build lithium ion cells, you'll have to move massive amounts of land to mine your metal cathodes. Currently, we have a very low rate of recycling of lithium-ion batteries versus, let's say, other chemistries like lead acid, which we recycle at a rate of 90 to 95% globally. So how do these types of batteries work? For instance, you have an illustration here of sodium-ion batteries. So you have your typical parts of an electrochemical cell: your anode, your cathode, your electrolyte, and basically the ions that we have in the electrolyte and in the electrodes. In this case, those are sodium ions. They just move back from your anode during oxidation to the cathode. And then when you charge your cell, the reverse direction of movement of ions and electrons will happen. So our sodium ions will move from your cathode to your anode, and you have flow of electricity also in the external circuit. So this mechanism is what we call the rocking chair mechanism. So the mechanism for lithium-ion batteries are also the same as this one. Lithium is, as mentioned earlier, it's a very good battery chemistry, but the metals that we are using in lithium-ion batteries are not so difficult to find, and we'll have to do open pit mining, let's say, for nickel. With sodium-ion batteries, it has been found that in a life cycle assessment study, there's a lower environmental impact than lithium ion per kilowatt hour of capacity, because it does not require the metals that we use in lithium ion cells. The anode in sodium ion are based on biomass or certain polymers, and these are heat treated to have a highly disordered structure. We call this the hard carbon anode of sodium ion batteries. Another key advantage of sodium ion batteries is that it's a drop-in technology. This is a major issue with new chemistries like redox flow, even flywheel technology, or non-conventional type of battery chemistries, is that even if you have developed the technology at the cell level, you will have to construct your gigafactory to support the manufacturing of large amounts of these cells. With sodium ion, you can use the existing manufacturing infrastructure for lithium ion, because the process on how you produce lithium ion and sodium ion batteries are very similar. If you compare this with, let's say, a solid state battery, this would be a completely different type of processing and manufacturing lines, and that's why this is another key advantage of sodium ion batteries. There was a study by Professor Stefano Passerini of German university in Nature, and they looked at the cost and materials advantage of sodium versus lithium ion, and they found that sodium ion is quite cost competitive, especially with respect to lower energy density lithium ion cells. We performed our own study also, which was submitted in in another journal this year, and then we saw that the price per kilowatt hour of sodium ion cells is competitive with respect to the lithium iron phosphate chemistry in lithium ion batteries. Now, to be able to tap into this emerging trend of sodium-ion batteries. So we started the company 2 years ago. This is not a spin-off company in the University of the Philippines, because this company was started even before the battery projects in the university started. We will build our independent R&D lab in Quezon City outside of the university. And so far, we think that we are the biggest battery team in the Philippines, with 6 PhDs, an MBA, and 7 master's level researchers. Just some key milestones for our startup. We got our US-based R&D outsourcing client, a battery company based in Nevada, for their fluorinated ether electrolyte development. And early this year also, we were able to close our pre-seed funding to allow us to renovate a laboratory and also buy the battery equipment that we will use for developing sodium-ion batteries at the chemistry level, and developing battery management systems for sodium and lithium-ion batteries. So year to date, we've been able to generate around $60,000 in revenue from our R&D on outsourcing contract. And we have a memorandum of agreement between Nascent Batteries and UP for a contracted R&D in the university. So this allows us to access laboratories in the university, and Nascent will pay for the use of this laboratory space and equipment and personnel. Now, in terms of the R&D and commercialization agenda of Nascent, we are developing sodium-ion chemistry. It starts with finding the right materials for anode, for the cathode, and the different formulations of the electrolyte. And at the same time, we're also accepting chemistry R&D contracts from clients outside of the Philippines. What makes this different from our DOST-funded project, which was focused only in cathode development, is that this allows us to come up with complete or full cells of sodium ion, and then hopefully we can develop our own intellectual property based on the different combinations of novel materials. There's an engineering division also in the startup, and the engineering division will develop the battery management system technology for commercial lithium ion and the next generation sodium ion batteries. So we are still developing our capability to produce sodium ion cells, but in the meantime, we have a partnership with a US-based startup, and we are now testing their cells for performance and cycling behavior, and we can develop sodium ion based products from these cells if the performance is quite good. So basically, it's building from the ground up. We plan to develop certain battery packs for various applications based on sodium ion technology. And in the interim, we are using lithium ion batteries. To be able to scale from cell to system, it will require a lot of subsystem components. So you need fire suppression systems, your BMS, your power conditioning systems. It's not just a chemistry innovation anymore, and you'll have to hire a lot of electrical and electronics engineers. We have a 3-story R&D facility which is now being renovated, and we're also procuring the glove box, the characterization synthesis equipment for Nascent batteries, which will be independent of the projects in the University of the Philippines. And this allows us to completely separate the two groups to avoid conflicts of interest. And the faculty members involved in the startup also have filed the limited practice of profession so that the university is aware that we are part of the startup, and full-time employees of the government-funded projects are not involved in the startup. So some of the lessons so far, we've been very fortunate that we were able to close our pre-seed funding, but it didn't come without rejections. So we talked to all industry players in the Philippines, venture capital. We pitched to more than 40 companies, VCs, individuals, and most of them rejected us. It took 9 months to close our first R&D outsourcing contract, and took 8 months to close our pre-seed investment round. Most of them are happy with importing technologies, and it's very difficult to connect with commercially focused executives in the Philippines with very short to medium view only. So we think that the certain parts of the puzzle are available in the Philippines, or we can get the certain know-how or partners, but we need more pieces in order for us to survive and grow as a company. We don't have suppliers now for specialty chemicals. If you import chemicals from outside of the Philippines, it's double, triple the price. The equipment procurement that takes a long time. We don't have VCs that are focused on deep technology or hardware technology. Most of the investments in the startup space are for ICT, AI, app-based applications. We need equity-free grants also from government agencies like DOST, DTI. We tried to apply for a startup funding from DOST, but we were rejected because we don't have an MVP that is validated with the customer. And that's difficult to do as a startup based on deep technology like sodium-ion batteries. So these are key takeaways in my talk. We need storage to be able to transition from fossil fuel-based energy system to a solar and wind-based clean energy system. There are expertise that are available in the Philippines, but the number of researchers is very small. We started training a lot of young scientists back in 2015, and the community is growing each year. The innovation at the chemistry level takes time. And then somehow we observe that sometimes the government R&D funding is even more impatient than the private investor funding, and that's a big problem, because the funding from the government should focus on the high risk, high reward type of R&D activities. But sometimes agencies are pushing for quick commercialization of really immature technologies in the Philippines. Right, so I'd like to thank our officers of PAASE and the members of PAASE and our participants for coming today, and thank you po, and daghang salamat.
Thank you very much, Joey. Excellent. Congratulations. You can just imagine how far you have actually accomplished now from your finishing your studies in Korea, until now, no? You have already co-established your startup, Nascent Battery Solutions technologies. Joey, I have two questions.
Yes,
on the side of building the R&D, your R&D capacity, how important it is, Joey, for researchers, to secure funding and also funding for research and your collaboration. I'm very familiar with, right? Of course, I know you for a long time. Started your project with Picari, I think that is where, and you have you have huge funding opportunity to build your capacity, and your strong collaboration, as you have shown with Professor Lee, and your US collaborators. Joey, how are these important in really envisioning a technology commercialization, development and commercialization? Number one, funding, of course, your technical capacity from your PhD, then funding, and then partnerships and collaboration. Joey, can you share your experience, please?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Alvin. So all of those are very important. I guess I'm quite fortunate that I decided to take my PhD in South Korea instead of going to the US or Europe, because South Korea is a big player in the battery industry. And when I returned from my PhD in South Korea, we started from scratch. So we have a bare room with no equipment, no glasswares. And the training from the research group where I came from on how to quickly start your research group was very crucial. So on our first year, we were able to get research grants. One of those grants would be the PICARI grant. However, it was also problematic because it was in early days of PICARI. So of the many equipment that we were supposed to receive, only a couple of equipment arrived, and they arrived 2 years after the close of the project. These grants were crucial in building my research management and mentoring skills, but it's also different. I don't think that these grants also was crucial in starting the startup outside of the university. The challenge with having grants and implementing grants in the Philippines is that the bureaucracy is very slow. So I don't think it allows researchers and scientists to quickly come up with novel technologies which they can translate later on into commercial technologies. That was one of the reasons why we decided to start a company outside of UP. We have an advanced battery center project now, and it took us more than a year to procure the equipment. Salaries are delayed. The equipment, the chemicals for the components took a long time to get delivered. So we think that our startup is more agile relative to the government-funded projects. But I think there are synergies between our research group and the startup, because you can train people, get their MS, and then they can be working they can be hired by the startup later on if you have more resources, you have trained personnel. Our researchers in the startup can also take their masters and then PhD in UP.
Okay. Thank you, Joey. So clearly, you may have funds, but if these funds are not easily disbursed, you can just imagine. I know that, Joey. You have completed your project, and you have not even, all those equipment with you, even the project closure. So we really need to improve on this area with the government. So it's not enough that the government says you have funding, we have money for you, but I think even more important is how they can really execute, the different, disbursement, procurement, and other, necessary operational policies to be able to fully implement the project, because I know it was critical. Funding is critical. Every researcher would always recognize that we need funds. Once the funding is there, Joey will it's a testament that it's not enough that you just have the money. I think we have the money, Joey, right? But if we cannot use it, it doesn't even up to the point that we cannot even pay our research assistants, Joey, right?
Yes, sir.
Delays, just like our probably scholarship, we need to improve on this. We need to address this. These are critical. These are critical. Anyway, before we have academician Asuncion Raimundo, I have a technical question to you, Joey, and before I also give to Dr. Gladys Completo. One on the issue of lower energy density. It was clear from your presentation that lithium ion batteries are really superior. And of course, of course, there are other issues that you wanted to address with lithium ion, the batteries. But because of its low energy density, Joey, no, so the energy per unit of volume or weight could be a limitation, in its application, where you probably space and weight would be important here. So that's one. So how do you address that one? Second, the life cycle of sodium ion batteries is generally, I suppose, shorter than lithium ion. Is that correct? Now, in which
That's
case,
correct.
yeah, so the ability of the battery to charge, discharge in so short a time, no, which is actually critical in for example, in application for electric vehicles. So that would also be an issue, and I'm sure your research group and your company are addressing this. If we want to address these technical issues with sodium ion batteries, how soon do you think, Joey, can we achieve a more commercial level, competitive to lithium ion batteries we can use for renewable energy systems and for electric vehicle battery storage system? How soon are we? Can we achieve this? Assuming by addressing its lower density issues and its life cycle.
Yeah.
Joey.
Actually, Dr. Alvin, when you started the company in 2021, okay, no one was manufacturing sodium ion batteries at the commercial level. But this year, companies like CATL, one of the biggest lithium iron phosphate companies, EV manufacturers in the world, they're already manufacturing commercial sodium ion cells. Back to your question on the energy density. Similar to the trade-off figure that I showed you, you can actually design a cell based on your key objectives. So if you want a cell that is high energy density, we can now build it. Okay, there are companies in Europe, in China, having that type of cathode technology. But the cycle life is not so high as you've said. So this would be in the range of 3,000 to 5,000 cycles in the lifetime of the battery. But there's this company based in France called Tiamat, which is a spin-off at CNRS, and their cathode chemistry is particularly suited for high power, high cycle application. So they can produce 10C, 20C rate cells, and they can cycle it for more than 10,000 cycles. So it's already competitive versus lithium ion. The only issue is that there is still no sodium ion technology that is competitive both in the energy and in the power at the same time, similar to your NMC chemistry or the NCA. So I don't think it will take quite some time to have that technology. Probably in a couple of years, once the companies start to manufacture sodium ion batteries at scale, you have more investments in R&D and manufacturing, then sodium ion cells with better capability will come out.
Okay, great. Anyway, it's clear that since 2015, that's already more than or about 8 years now that you have you've been building, the capacity in this particular area. And I'm very, very happy with that, Joey, because remember my issue with human capital development here in the Philippines, when we're investing a lot in in training PhDs. We have done that, for example, in ERDT, but the problem is after getting their PhDs, where do they go? That's our problem. Remember, that is my issue with with projects. When I monitor, evaluate projects, what do you do with people who has been trained, who has worked with us in our research, for a year or more than 3-5 years, after that, they have no place. And I think by having a startup, by having your company, now there are opportunities for postdocs, later on become employees with PhDs, and I think this is a great development. Congratulations, Joey. It's a highly commendable. Before Gladys, sasabihin ko sana, was it a blessing, Joey, that you have really real problems and challenges with your funding, with your, that's why it motivated you to move out of of the academic institution, and set up your own company. And you have seen how fast the private sector, as long as you have money, how fast it can really transform, into a real, actually, technology developer. I think our short sighted, of our government, like giving you funds for a year and expecting you to commercialize a product, that is unreasonable. But anyway, Dr. Gladys, your turn, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Alvin. Again, congratulations to Joey Ocon. You've done a lot, and I think we both returned here in the Philippines almost at the same time. And congratulations for achieving a lot for in such short a time. So I have some questions here. Some questions here are coming from Mom Giselle, because she told you that she's actually traveling. And then, but before I ask the Mom Giselle's question, can I ask you a basic question that you mentioned, that in using sodium ion batteries, there's not you don't have to use the cobalt-based ions anymore. What's the reason for that? Did I get it right when you mentioned?
That's correct, Doc Gladys. With lithium, kasi in order to get the really good performance, we use cobalt in the cathode, because it stabilizes the structure and allows for high power and high energy density operation. With sodium, the size of the ions of sodium are a bit bigger. And you can use other metals to store the sodium ions in your cathode. So this would be metals based on iron and manganese, sometimes nickel, vanadium, and you can now build cells without cobalt in the batteries.
All right, thank you. I know that. So I know Mom AKR is raising her hand. Can I just quickly ask some questions first from Giselle? Can I mention this first? Here's her question. Can you please also mention the huge energy battery requirements to support AI and its growing future advanced applications, making use of highly advanced chips?
Yeah. As discussed po in my slide number 12, so ano siya, parang cyclical po yung relationship. We think that AI will play a key role in the discovery of more or of novel materials that we can use for better performing batteries. On top of that, you can use AI in let's say checking if your battery are behaving correctly, or if you have safety issues in your battery, because when you measure battery metrics like voltage, current, impedance, we are collecting large amounts of data, and we can use this data to train our machine learning models. So those are the use cases of AI. But at the same time, in order to build these AI models, you need very energy hungry data centers. And these data centers are powered by mostly renewable energy right now because of this ESG concern with big publicly listed companies like Google, Amazon, etc. And to support this renewable energy sources for data centers, you need batteries, okay, to stabilize the intermittent power output and at the same time to provide backup power. So ano po, bidirectional yung relationship ng AI and energy storage technologies.
Okay, thank you. One more. So here, if you can read the one that I wrote in the chat box. So Philippines is rich in the metals, nickel, cobalt, as well as in copper. So what is the UP Engineering or Philippine metallurgical companies are doing to extract and produce more refined high value products from our ores?
Yeah. So currently we are using the HPAL process. Meron po yung high pressure acid leaching process to extract nickel in some of our certain types of ores like yung mga laterite. And so far, wala pa po tayong chemistry industry to convert yung metals in our ore to a battery grade metal sulfate or kung ano pa yung final form before it gets converted into an electrochemical cell. And the reason behind that is that kung wala kang cell manufacturing in the Philippines, then it doesn't really make sense to build a chemical industry. We don't have a cell manufacturing industry kasi wala rin tayong demand coming from the EV industry because we don't build our own EVs in the Philippines. So let's say if the government attracts investments from vehicle EV companies like from China, from Japan to build local EV manufacturing, then medyo mabibuild mo yung supply chain. So you have a demand coming from EVIDA law, you have your local EV manufacturing, and then you can now plug in a player for cell manufacturing. And then once your cell manufacturing is there, you can now build a chemicals industry which will convert the ores to a battery grade form. So yun po yung crucial dun sa whole value chain.
It is difficult. Actually, I had the same question as Alvin's yung reduced capacity of the sodium ion batteries, but you already answered that there are actually now improvements being done to solve the issue. So that's good. And do you think you can apply that here using are you trying to do that also here in the Philippines now using your startup company?
Yes, ma'am. So we are looking at chemistry improvements dun sa sodium ion battery, but it's a risky bet also. Kasi you need a lot of resources to do chemistry innovation. So another approach that we're doing now is we can bypass that particular limitation by looking for other players outside the Philippines which can supply us sodium ion cells. So we have identified a prospective partner based in the US. Maganda po yung technology nila. They're claiming that their energy density is comparable to lithium ion. It's based on a tin sodium alloy anode. And if the performance is really good as advertised, then we have a non-binding contract already with them to procure sodium ion cells. And from these cells, we can now design battery packs which are intended for local applications. So these applications might be for, let's say, backup power or light electric vehicles. But we'll have to design the other components like the battery management system, but more of electronics innovation rather than yung chemistry innovation, which is high risk.
Okay. Sige. Gladys, let's
Yes.
call academician
Yes.
Asuncion Raimundo.
Yes.
Academician Sean, you may ask a question now.
Okay, thank you. Talking about batteries, I ran out of battery. That's why I was disconnected. Anyway, congratulations to Dr. Ocon for having the guts to establish a startup company.
Thank
I
you
was
po.
in the Biotechnology Institute for some time, and I saw a lot of results that can be, it can be sold, or a startup can be done. But all this, like me, we didn't have the guts to do a startup. So I'm glad that you have that. But I am curious. You said that you had a startup company outside of UP. Wouldn't UP claim that your hours as professors, you did your research and your research outputs are part of the university? They will claim that. So how did you manage that? That
Yeah.
part of administration.
Yeah, that's a very good point, ma'am. In fact, before we started the company with my co-founder and commercial co-founder, we thought about that. But anyway, in the university, we're allowed to have a limited practice of profession. As long as you properly declare it with the university, it's approved on a yearly basis. So we applied for that LPP po, limited practice of profession. We're very careful with the conflict of interest. So yung full-time researchers in the funded projects, they're not part of the company. Okay? But as faculty members, we can wear many hats as long as transparent kami with how we deal with possible conflicts of interest. In fact, we are the only startup na merong MOA with UP. Kasi yung ibang startups, they say that they license the IP, but licensing the IP does not allow you to access university facilities, di ba? Without paying the university.
Right.
So we have a MOA now between the startup and Nascent. We're paying UP for the lease of facilities, use of equipment, at the same time for hiring full-time personnel under UP while we build our capability in the laboratory. So yun po yung challenge kasi without yung expertise kasi in the Philippines is very few, di ba?
Yeah.
Parang you cannot trust commercialization of deep technologies to individuals outside who don't know the technology. So yung push talaga to commercialize will be coming from the researchers instead of outsiders. We tried to ask for players na if they're interested to build their own R&D lab outside of yung mga industrial players, but they don't have interest. They don't like technology risk. So yun po yung reason kung bakit we decided to start a company.
Okay, good luck.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joey.
Wow.
Joey, what do you expect from the government now in terms of your company? No, if it's a startup, but if we want your company in a year's time, 2 years time, or how soon it really becomes a commercial venture, it becomes really a company, no longer a startup but a real company. What do you want? What do you expect support from the government to be able to? Do you still need the government here? Or of course there are existing laws that are already that governs your technology, but would you still want the government to help you to hasten your company's development, or you can do that with the private sector alone?
I don't think we can do it in the private sector alone, sir. Kasi, for instance, with the pre-seed funding that we've raised, majority of that will go towards renovating and buying the equipment for the lab. So very small lang na fraction of the budget goes into paying personnel. Okay? Probably a quarter of the budget. We have a runway of around 18 months before our funding dries up. So in the meantime, we're getting consulting contracts from outside of the Philippines, but it's not so common also. So paisa-isa lang yung mga outsourcing contract. we need what we need are funds to demonstrate our technology, at the same time lower our burn rate. So ito yung mga demonstration funds that they usually get in the US and in Europe.
Joey, I'm thinking, for example, if the government, for example, the OST, allocates, let us say, 10 postdocs, the government pays them, and deploy to your company. So your overhead goes down. The government takes that. Instead, your money will be used for infrastructure support for your company. So your people who will be working will be paid under a postdoctoral fellowship paid by the government, and they are deployed. Instead of deploying them, for example, to government agencies, they would be deployed to the private, startup like in your case. So would you want that? Of course, you would. That is what I would like to expect the government to provide support.
Mm-hmm.
For example, now we can strategize if this is really a future, a game changer, for our renewable electric vehicle. Cannot the government, the DOST, for example, allocate 100 PhDs only for battery systems, which will cover chemistry, engineering, chemical, just for the purpose of supporting that particular industry.
Yeah,
because if we do not do that, as we know very well, many people get their PhDs for nothing, for promotion, for just being able to teach. But that is not what we want to have for new PhDs. My view is in my study now on the S&T human capital development, ang gusto ko targeted. If I believe that in the case of battery storage, energy storage research and development and technology development, talagang naniniwala tayo dito, especially in your company or with you, then let's invest on that, even in terms of human capital development. So that the entire ecosystem, yung ni-raise kanina ni Gladys, yung sinasabi mo, Joey, na if we are able to strengthen the value chain, the whole, you will need the industry later on sa chemical industry. Kailangan natin yun eh. Kailangan ngayon pa lang, we already start building the capacity. So I would probably say, okay, babalikan natin yung government, yung DOST. Give me 10 postdocs and I will give you this level of parang ganon. Kasi kailangan namin to. So it will not be a cost to yon. Anyway, postdoc naman, pwede naman yan i-deploy kahit saan eh. Diba? And the government can pay them whether they are in the industry or are they parang ganon. And then have, let us say, a program out of the several thousands of scholarships, master's, PhD, 100 will be in energy storage development technology. Chemistry, we need chemists na in these areas na sinasabi mo. Mga targeted tayo so that in 2 years time, you got master's students, graduates, i-absorb ng company, or sabi natin focus tayo sa PhD. Pagkatapos na graduate nila ng PhD in 3 to 4 years time, i-deploy natin sa company mo or to the industry. Your industry, it will become an industry now, not just your company, the whole industry. I-absorb na sila initially postdocs. Ganun nakakompete in kanilang And then later on, they become now, engineers and scientists in that particular area. And then we can now build that entire business or industry ecosystem that you want, so that we can really push for the development of it. I think this is the kind of the government's government okay, problemado na tayo sa disbursement, procurement, sige, pero ang pinakamadali dito human capital development. Diba? Because the funds are there. Ang problema lang natin targeting eh. Where do we train our people to, so that in the future meron sila pupuntahan. Sabi mo nga, di ba, in my monitoring with your projects at UP, that is always my question. Where do you Where do you bring now the people who have been trained for, ang galing ng mga training nila, mga ganon, tapos walang industry to absorb them. Ang universities cannot also even absorb them also. I remember you were mentioning you have one postdoc. That's only one postdoc, but you produce several PhDs, Joey, di ba? We'll be losing them to other countries. Sayang. So now, ngayon pa lang, i-ano na natin, let's talk about that so that we can push the government to be more purposive and targeted. Sige.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joey. That's just a comment.
I agree with what you said, Doc Alvin. In fact, that's the limitation of the startup. We have PhDs, pero part-time sila because we cannot afford hiring them full-time because of the burn rate. But if we have support coming from, let's say, an agency like DOST, then that will be extra helpful kasi you reduce the burn rate, you allow the startups to survive longer. Until they are big enough to be independent.
Yun ang gagawin natin, Joey. Remember our FGD yesterday. And I mentioned to you about the issues that we need to address. Yun ang ano natin. It has to lead towards that, and we can use a model like your company, and then let's see how we can. We have to try it to develop our own local companies with our own local capability, with our own local technology. But certainly, if we need the market globally, we have to have those partnerships and collaboration. I think you have all the essential elements of a global company, but we need to ramp it up so that we can achieve it in the shortest possible time. So I think I really support your I really admire your guts, Joey. We didn't have that, to separate from the university and set up your own company. So it is a product that Gladys, of long years of building the technical your technical and scientific foundation, starting with your PhD. Kaya guys who are here with us, kung kailangan talaga kayo mag-PhD if we really need this country to prosper scientifically or technologically. Kailangan talaga natin ng mga PhDs. I'm sure Joey will not disagree with me, Joey, kung hindi ka nag-PhD, I don't think you will reach this level of what has driven Dr. Joey Ocon is started from his PhD and has had a good technical and scientific training, and then after that he had several researches over time. Imagine he has secured funding from our government, DOST and others, and of course the PICARI, to allow him to investigate scientifically, do research and development. And it took a while from that time, nabanggit ni Joe 2015, maganon ngayon 2023. So it took him a while to reach at this stage. And this is not enough, di ba, Gladys? Yes. Kailangan natin i-pursue pa ito, ituloy-tuloy natin, but in a shorter period of time. Gladys, go ahead.
Yes, I have. Thank you very much for your suggestions, Alvin. I think you answered the question that I will be reading here. It's coming from our audience, Daryl, and it's very much related to what you actually answered his question, but may I just read it? What policy adjustments or initiatives do you recommend to align government R&D funding expectations with the realities of chemistry innovation, ensuring a conducive environment for sustainable battery development in the Philippines? And I think partly Doc Alvin already answered some of these suggestions that can be recommended. But Doc Joey, do you have additional recommendation?
To be fair with our funding institutions like DOST and CHED, they are allotting budget for energy storage development. Meron lang konting misalignment of expectations because let's say for certain projects they expect na meron na agad prototype at the end of, let's say, a 2-year, 3-year project, and then yung prototype mo, pwede mo na i-commercialize. So it does not align with how chemistry innovation is translated outside of the Philippines, di ba? If you're following yung mga innovations, it took 30 years for lithium ion to mature. Yung sodium ion, since yung one of the earliest startups, 2012 nag-start. So it takes some time to iterate different versions of the technology. Yung key issue then is that while we have funding coming from the funding agencies, due to the inherent nature of the public funds, it does not allow for agile innovation. Kasi they have to comply with COA, the fund releases are delayed, so everything is slow. And it doesn't allow you to iterate or change your research objectives as quickly as you would do it in a startup. So ito yung malaking difference. Now, if DOST or CHED can provide R&D funding directly to private companies like what they do in the US, then that would facilitate yung faster cycles of innovation. Because even sa research group namin, we are 40 plus in full-time equivalents, FTEs. If we have an idea, limited na kami dun sa bottlenecks ng UP bureaucracy and yung DOST and UP exchanges of documents. So hindi na po namin ipo-pursue yung idea kasi nga papahirapan lang namin yung sarili namin eh. We know how difficult is it to implement projects in the university. So that's the bigger challenge.
Yeah, I think that's right, Joey. And that's precisely what the National Innovation Grants is all about. I think, in the interest of time, Dr. Giselle Concepcion, who is an executive member of the National Innovation Council, are really pushing for a review of these national innovation grants. I think these are the type of grants that should go to the industry, especially startup, companies. Maybe we could understand that the UST and other like CHED and other funding agencies, required of auditing the COA rules. I think that's understandable. But we have to be creative and innovative in our regulations, and we have to find a way to make and support startups and company. And I think the national innovation grants are really designed to support startups, and I hope that the NIC or these grants from NIC can be accessed by you with not much bureaucratic as you have mentioned, allow you to do agile innovation as quick as possible. I think from the government side, we will really push Gladys, let's put it in our PAASE agenda when you become our president in January. I think yung pag-direct nga ng natin mga SEI scholarships into really targeted sectors. It is a purposeful direction. Of course, we will support for fundamental and basic research for PhDs, but I think we have to allocate also masters and PhDs scholarships primarily to support already startups and existing industries, similar to what I mentioned for Joey's company. I think if we can do that, we have a long way to go, because you can just imagine if Joey would have 10 postdocs in his company, diba? And then a stream of another 100 PhDs across the different transdisciplinary areas of chemistry, even biology probably, and all areas in engineering, including the AI, etc., there will be no reason why in 5 years' time or in 10 years' time, we will have a very competitive, battery company operating in the Philippines, diba? That would probably supply even our ASEAN, neighbors. So I think we have to envision also along with Joey. So I think yung kay Joey visioning must be matched with the visioning of the government, so that we can really push, and that could only be one model, and we can replicate that to the other startups that require the same. So yun ang natin plan, and this is what this PAASE for Philippine Innovation Fireside really series is all about. So it's already 9:58, Gladys.
Yes.
I have a next meeting. I think we have to end by
Can I
10.
just read a comment
Yeah,
from
sure, Gladys, go
one
ahead.
audience? This is from Dr. Nacario. So congratulations to Dr. Joey Ocon and Nascent. Doc Alvin Colaba raised an excellent point on the government, or specifically the USC funding postdocs and other scholars to work in startups like Nascent. These postdocs get to have world-class training without having to go outside the Philippines. And at the same time, the government DOC saves money in the long run. So really, yes, very good suggestions. And then, yes, so I think I have to mention now the other fireside chats that are scheduled. So the next one will be from our national scientist, Jurgen Primavera. And this is scheduled on, when is this? Feb, there's no date here. December 1. Okay, December 1. So please do join us for this fireside chat again. And then the next one will be from Engineer Danilo Manayaga, the project director of the Biomass Power Plant Project at Quezon Energy Farms Incorporated. So will be the next fireside chat. This will be December, 8. And then the next fireside chat is scheduled on December 15, and this will be coming from Carlo Delantar, who is the country director of Waves for Water. So these are the next fireside chats scheduled this next month, this December. Again, congratulations. So we are also, this is from the NIC, the PAASE for Philippine Innovation. There are forms here for grant proposal, paper on Philippine SNT innovation, and another form is the barriers to innovation and proposed solutions. These are all available forms at our website, the www.paase.org, and you can just fill it out, and we'll be glad to read them and together come up with a project that you are proposing.
Okay. Gladys, maybe for future PAASE services naman ito, to make it easy for companies like mga startups, sometimes hindi nila na ito na itong mga grants, mga proposal. If we can be more
we will post.
Yes. Tulungan natin sila to give them the advice on how to secure those grants, so that sila Joey will be more focused on their work and ganon. Ito mga grant proposal, bigyan natin sila idea, and their research assistant can work on that. Ano ba mga requirements nito? Yes. Kailan ba ang deadline nito? Kailan parang ganon? Let's do that. Let's be more proactive. Yes. Rather than just giving them the forms and then let them access the form. They don't have time to do that. It's like me. I don't have time to look at those forms and So give them, let's give as part of our PAASE, ano ba itong grants na ito? Like Joey now, let's for it. Joey, ito yung mga available grants that you can, ito yung work on this. Ito yung deadline. So at least they know, how to work on it. And then we can facilitate. And then follow up. So that we can really push and support, the efforts of our innovators, in the country. So again, I don't think we have other questions on the chat box, and we would like to thank Professor Dr. Joey Ocon, from the Department of Chemical Engineering at University of Philippines, UP Scientist 3, a multi-awarded scientist. Joey, congratulations. It's really it's commendable how I admire your guts, to be honest. I didn't have this. I should have done that, before, but I don't think I am. I am, like you, entrepreneur, no. But we will support you all the way in this effort. I hope magawa natin to. Yung sinasabi ko na
Thank you, sir.
we plan, with more scientific support to your nascent startup company. So again, thank you very much. PAASE is very, very much grateful and appreciative, of your time here with us this morning. So once again, let's give a virtual applause to Professor Joey Ocon, everyone
Thank
here.
you, Professor Joey
And to
Ocon.
all those who are listening on Facebook. We are on Facebook Live,
Yes.
So Joey, thank you very much and congratulations. So don't be disheartened by many challenges, with the government bureaucracy. I'm sure that is where we thrive. When we are innovative, we can always get away with these challenges, and and it allows us to push even, and I'm really happy that you are really very creative around about this challenges. So we will work on that, and then hopefully we can support more startups like you. So thank you very much, Joey Ocon. Thank you very much, Dr. Gladys Completo, and all the PAASE members who are here with us. PAASE is still under the leadership of Dr. Mario Santo Domingo, and Dr. Gladys Completo will take over the leadership of PAASE from January 2024. And I'm sure we will be in another 2-year exciting ride with the new leadership of PAASE. So thank you very much, Gladys, and the new Vice President and President-elect that will also be with Dr. Gladys' team, Dr. Marge Benya. So once again, to all our listeners, to always those who support this Fireside Chat, thank you so much for your time. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving Day in the US. So thank you so much. Joey, keep up your good work. We'll be in touch. And please share to me the proceedings of your conference next week. And I will inform Ched that you're not available, and therefore, or maybe they can send me I'll be monitoring again the Cypher and the SureTech project. So Gladys, anything more you want to say?
I would like to just mention that next year we will be having our annual PAASE meeting and symposium here in UPLB. So it's in July 15 to 17. I would like to invite Dr. Joey Ocon if you can find time to be one of the speakers po. So actually it's a 10-day conference. It will start in University of Rizal System, July 13 to 14. That's a pre-conference workshop. And then the main event is in UPLB, 15 to 17. And this will be followed. We're going to Batangas State University for another 2 days. And we will end in EVSU, Eastern Visayas State University in Tacloban. So please, if you I will send you a letter. I would like to invite you as one of the speakers and to that conference, Dr. Joey Ocon.
Yeah.
And Gladys, invite everyone here.
Yes, I would like to invite everybody.
I want to acknowledge Dr. Cora Claudio, who is also here from CASA convener, and other maybe members of the academy. And of course, would like to thank Feb Eclares behind all of this Friday chat series. Feb is the one managing all the logistics for this. Thank you so much, Feb, for all your services to PAASE and this Fireside series.
Yes,
we have to end now. It's already 10:07, and I'm preparing for my next meetings.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Joey.
Is there a
Thank
picture?
you.
Bye.
Thank
Photo
you,
up daw
Gladys.
po.
Feb,
Photo
thank
daw.
you, and everyone.
Picture muna daw.
Yeah, please. Oo. Sige. Feb,
you.
pakiano muna. For those who have your cameras and you can put it on, kindly ano na lang so we can see you and we can document this.
So just a
This,
clarification.
this series, by the way, are recorded and they can be viewed and downloaded at our PAASE website, www.paase.org.ph. You can always go to the website and you can view all the past recordings of this series, Fireside Chat series. Okay, you can open your cameras and then Feb now will take a photo.
Okay po. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay na po.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
very
Giselle.
much.
Safe travels wherever you are. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye-bye. Joey,
everybody.
thank you.
Bye,
Yes.
sir. Bye po, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Pep. Okay.
Thank you.